fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver. Let's go, big fellow. Hi-yo, Silver! Hi!
A paint horse dashed into the town of Ashcroft with Tonto, the faithful companion of the Lone Ranger, in the saddle. The Indian drew Scout to a halt and dismounted in front of the general store. He saw a weather-beaten old man with steely blue eyes seated on the steps, with a Winchester across his knees.
Hold on there, Redskin.
What matter?
You aiming to go into the store?
Not right.
Well, you wait here until Jim is through doing his buying.
Me wait inside the store.
I said you're going to wait out here. We're taking no chances since Jim was made a marshal.
Well, who, Jim?
Why, he's my grandson. His name is King, the same as mine. You mean to say you didn't know it?
Me not know.
You ever hear of the Calloway family?
Oh, me stranger round here.
I'll repeat my question, which you ain't answered. You know the Calloway family?
Me not know 'em.
And you never heard of me, Jeremy King?
No.
Yeah. That being the case, I guess you never heard of the Calloway-King feud, eh? Yeah. Are you sure you weren't sent here by the Callaways to gun down my grandson? Yeah, I wouldn't put it past the Callaways to hire a redskin. The ornery polecats have been downright jealous since one of the King family got to be a marshal. Well, here comes my boy now.
You get all those things ready for me, Ma Bendix, and I'll stop back.
I have it ready when you get here, Marshal.
Sure. Come on, Grandpa. Go see if Jake has got a new tire on our wagon.
Hey, Jim. Take a good look at this engine.
Howdy. What's your name?
Well, me Tonto.
I told them who you were.
Has Gramp been keeping you out of the store while I was in there?
That right.
I'm taking no chances, Jim.
Doggone it, Grandpa, you know this Indian's not a Callaway.
They could have hired him to gun you.
That's not the way the Callaways fight.
I wouldn't put it past that fire-eating old Sadie Calloway, that busted old she-dragon. Come on, boy. We'll get our wagon.
You aiming to make some purchases, Indian?
That right.
Well, come on in. I'll wait on you before I fill Jim King's orders. The old goat Jeremy kept you out, huh?
That right. Him say there plenty big feud.
Yep. Everyone is looking for the Callaway King feud to start up again.
Well, how feuds start?
It started years ago, Injun, when Jeremy King and Zeke Callaway were young men. They had a row about the boundary between their ranches. When the shooting began, Jeremy's 4 brothers and their families came to help him. Zeke's relatives came to fight on the Callaway side. There was lively times for several years. Then things quieted down. Been quiet for 10 years or so.
Now feuds start again, huh?
Maybe so. Young Jim got to be marshal. Callaways don't like that. Then young Jim fell in love with Betty Callaway. They don't like that either. No telling what Sadie Callaway might do. She's been the head of the outfit since old Zeke, that's her husband, died.
Hey, Mo! All bandits!
What the Sam here?
Where's Doc Sawtell? Where's he at? He's needed in a hurry.
Who was hurt?
Old Jeremy King's been shot.
What?
Yeah. He and Jim are outside the blacksmith shop. Someone fired from a distance, got the old man in the back.
Great day.
Young Jim's roaring mad. He says he'll find the dry gulcher and hang him higher than a kite. Well, I got her fine, Doc. Maybe Jeremy can be saved.
I'll help you, Joe. Come on. Oh, great day. This means that the feud is busted out wide open again. Hey, Redskin, where are you going? You didn't make your purchases.
I may come back by and by. Get him up, Scout!
Tonto rode at top speed out of town and across a stretch of open country to a woods 2 miles away, where the Lone Ranger waited in camp. As quickly as possible, he told what he had learned in Ashcroft, and was surprised to find that the masked man was familiar with the feud between the Kings and the Callaways.
I'm sorry to hear about that shooting, Tonto. Might mean serious trouble. Jeremy's friends and relatives will be sure that a Callaway did the shooting. They won't wait to ask questions. They'll strap on their guns and start out for revenge. War will break out. I wonder if... Tonto, did you say Jeremy was shot in the back?
That's right.
Then he wasn't shot by anyone in the Callaway family.
Well, who else might shoot him?
I don't know. I'm sure of just one thing. He was not shot by Callaway.
Maybe Kings figure same way.
They won't stop to reason it out, Tonto. They've got to do something. They've got to postpone the showdown until the ambusher can be found. I think... Yes, I have an idea. Hand me that saddle, please.
Here, saddle.
Thanks. I've got to get to the blacksmith shop as quickly as possible. Steady, Silver. You said Jeremy was still there?
That's right. And what you do?
I'm going to try to convince everyone that it wasn't the Callaway who shot Jeremy King.
How you do that?
Hold still, Silver. Hold still, boy. Easy. I'll tell you about it later, Tonto. You wait here until I return. There's a cinch. That'll do it.
Me wait here.
Easy, big fella. I'll be back. Come on, Silver!
In the meantime, Dr. Sawtell had been found and brought to the shady side of the blacksmith shop, where old Jeremy King lay on a blanket that had been spread out on the grass. A stir came from the assembled crowd when Jeremy opened his eyes.
What happened?
Now, take it easy, Jeremy.
Doc, you... Hey. What am I doing here?
Gramps, you was shot.
Huh?
You'll be all right, Jeremy. I got the bullet out. It didn't hit a vital spot.
I was unconscious.
For a little while, yeah. The boys are fixing a mattress in the wagon, Gramps. They'll take you home when it's ready.
Shot in the back, eh? Jim, none of the original Callaways would shoot a man in the back.
That's right, Gramps.
Must have been a newcomer to the family. One of them squirts that married a Callaway girl, huh? Old Sadie probably sent someone to get you, and he must have been afraid to get close. So he shot from a distance and got me instead.
Gramp, I don't think it was Sadie's doing.
It must have been.
She said she wouldn't interfere if Betty wanted to marry me.
Yes, so because you're a marshal. That's what Sadie is. Now, let me up.
Jeremy, you can't get up not yet.
Weak. Weak as a one-day kitten. Well, Jim, what are you aiming to do about this?
I've just been waiting for you to get conscious, Gramp. Now I'm calling on Sadie Callaway and see what she's got to say about this shooting.
Well, what are you waiting for? I'm conscious. Go on. Shine up that marshal's badge and call on Sadie She-Bear Calloway.
There was only one ranch in the entire region that could compare in size and equipment to the King Ranch. That was the one that belonged to the Calloway family. There were a number of houses grouped together near the main gate. Old Sadie Calloway lived in the largest house with her granddaughter. The two sat on the wide veranda. They looked up with interest when they saw Jeb Rayner, one of the townsmen, come through the gate at top speed and bring his lathered horse to a sliding halt.
Looks like he's bringing important news from town.
There's no news that could be important enough to make him welcome.
Betty, I don't know what intonation you got against Jeb Rayner.
Hi there, Miss Calloway. Hello, Betty. Did you hear the news?
What is it, Jeb?
Why, old Jeremy King got shot in the back.
Oh, no.
In the back, you say?
Yeah. Doc says he'll recover. But Jim King says that attempted murder's the same as murder. Oh, he's raving mad. He swears he'll get the Calloway that shot his grandpa.
The Calloway? If he thinks the Calloway's shooting the back,
Jim King knows better than that.
Yeah, he says a feud is wide open again. He's coming here for a showdown.
Jeb Rayner, I don't believe you.
Oh, you don't, Well, look over yonder past the gate.
He is coming this way.
He probably figures he can do as he pleases with that marshal badge.
Well, you'd better clear out before he gets here.
I'll go and tell your cousins to be on guard.
If he wants gunplay, he'll be accommodated.
Get up there, boy. Come on now.
Dad ratted, Betty. Why are you so ornery towards Jeb Rayner?
I don't like him. He's a sneaking polecat.
No such thing. Comes from a fine family. He's a better man than Jim King. Jim is a...
Granny, you promised you'd say nothing against Jim King.
Oh, all right. But just the same, it makes me boil when I think you marrying into the King family.
Jim isn't riding like a man who's coming for gunplay.
Oh, we'll soon know.
Hello, Jim.
Hi, Betty.
We heard about the shooting, Jim King. If you're coming here looking for trouble,
I'm not looking for trouble, Mrs. Calloway. I'm trying to avoid it.
Jim, we're sorry about your grandfather. How is he?
He'll pull through. I suppose Jeb Rayner told you about the shooting?
Yes.
I saw him in the crowd while Doc was working over Gramp. Then I saw him here. He coyoted around to the back of the house when he saw me coming.
King, I understand you aim to charge us Callaways with the dry gulch shooting.
Is that what Rayner told you?
Are you here as the marshal to make an investigation, or as a king to start gunplay?
Mrs. Calloway, I've got to find the man who shot old Jeremy, and I've got to find him in a hurry.
Afraid you'll lose the job as marshal?
No, it's not that. I'm afraid my brothers and uncles and cousins will think one of your people got Gramp. That'll mean open warfare.
Jim, do you think one of the Callaways would shoot a man in the back?
No, Betty. But the rest of my
you
family
haven't
will...
said why you came here.
Mrs. Calloway, everyone knows your word is gospel truth. I want to go back and tell my folks that you gave your word that Gramp wasn't shot by a Calloway.
You think I can give that word?
Yes. You know what goes on around here. No one would act without your say-so.
Well, you're right about that.
Did a Calloway shoot my grandfather?
I won't answer.
Grandma.
Mrs. Calloway, when I left Gramp at the blacksmith shop, they were fixing to take him home. Before he gets there, I want to deliver your oath that he wasn't shot by a Calloway.
You and your outfit can judge for yourself. If I'd send anyone to judge or gun old Jeremy. If you think I did, well, then the next move is up to you.
Well, look, Grandma, someone's coming this way. He's riding hard.
Not one of our men.
It's Doc Sawtell.
He's coming here.
I wonder if Gramps has taken a bad turn. Doc was going to stay with the wagon.
Hey, Jim, I got something to tell you.
He says he has something to tell me.
What
is it, Doc?
I wanted to get here before there was any showdown.
What do you mean?
We know who shot Jeremy, and it wasn't one of the Callaways.
Who was it?
It was a masked man riding a big white stallion that's called Silver. He's the one who shot your grandpa. He's the one you got to find and hang.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. to continue our story. Old Jeremy King lay on a couch in the living room of his big ranch house. He had been taken there after being shot in the back. A number of men were in the room, all of them Jeremy's relatives. Jim King, the marshal, turned to address them.
Doc gave me the facts while I was at the Callaway Ranch. I'll tell you just what Doc told me.
Yes, and I'll correct Jim if he makes any mistakes.
I'd left Gramps. He lay on a blanket in the shade of the blacksmith shop. Just as they were about to put him in the wagon, a masked man came riding through the main street on a white horse.
Yep, a stallion. The most powerful-looking critter I ever saw.
The man in the saddle packed 2 guns and wore them tied low. As he came close, he slowed up and yelled at Gramp.
Well, was he a Callaway? And what was he wearing a mask for?
What'd he yell?
Well, I didn't recognize his voice. He wasn't a Callaway. I can vouch for that.
What'd he yell?
Here's what he said. Keep out of trouble, King, or the next shot might be fired at closer range.
Yep. That's right, men. That's exactly what he shouted. Keep out of trouble, he yells at me, or the next shot will be fired at closer range.
Well, then what?
Then nothing. He yells, "Come on, Silver!" And his horse lit out at top speed, ears, back, and tail is streaming like a plume. Oh, sakes alive, how that horse could travel.
I guess that just about settles the guilt.
Well, didn't anyone go after him?
There wasn't no use. No one could have caught that horse.
Why'd they shoot you, Uncle Jeremy?
Well, how'd I know? I never saw the man before.
Well, maybe you'd know him without his mask.
I doubt that. The voice was new to me. So was the horse.
Didn't anyone try to shoot him as they rode away?
Nope. It all happened so fast. Everyone was caught off balance, so to speak.
Well, why'd he tell you to keep out of trouble?
What trouble could you get into?
Yeah.
We got to find that masked man and bring him to trial for attempted murder.
That's right.
We'll go to the blacksmith shop and try to pick up the tracks of that white horse. Now, let's go.
While Jim King enlisted the aid of his relations, the Lone Ranger and Tonto met near the top of a hill that overlooked the center of town and the front of the blacksmith shop. The Indian had made a number of inquiries before joining his masked friend.
Old man stand at door of shop when I'm hit by bullets.
His back was toward this hill, Tonto.
Not right.
Then the shot had to be fired from here.
Footprint not show. Hillside solid rock.
Footprints wouldn't show, but a man with a rifle could be seen quite easily. There's no place on the hill to hide. The only hiding place would be at the top of the hill. Let's go up there, lead scout.
Come, Scout. Come, fella. Come. You think him wait on the other side of the hill?
There's soft ground on the other side. It will show tracks.
Maybe we follow him, huh?
We'll try.
Fella lie in wait just over ridge. Him not seen from street of town.
Here's the ridge. I must have been near here when he fired.
Oh, that's right.
It's a long shot from here, Tonto.
Ah.
Easy to see why he didn't hit a vital spot. Now watch where you step. Don't walk on any tracks.
Me be careful.
We look both ways from... Wait.
You see something?
Something shiny, Tonto, over this way.
Oh, me see it now.
An empty rifle cartridge. From a 30-30. After the man fired, he cocked his rifle for a second shot. The empty case was ejected.
Here, tracks on ground.
Good.
Then go downhill that way.
All right, come on, Tonto.
Oh, you see hoof marks, too.
His horse was tied to that shrub. You can see where it nibbled the leaves. This is the trail we want, Tonto. From here we can ride easy. Come on, Scout.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto followed the well-defined tracks around the base of the hill. They saw where the ambusher had left his horse for some time in the shelter of an aspen grove.
Easy.
Now, he traveled on foot from here, went toward town, then came back and rode away in that direction.
Well, maybe him go into town and see what damage done by bullet.
Quite likely. Easy, big fella.
Easy, Scout. Easy, fella.
Now, come here, Tonto. Stand right next to me and look between those trees. You can see the main street and the blacksmith shop.
Ah. There are plenty men there.
Yes, the marshal is with them. They seem to be looking for tracks on the ground. The trail of the man they think shot Jeremy King. My trail.
Ah. And what we do?
We'll continue on the trail of the real criminal. Steady, big fella. All right, let's go, Tonto.
Get him up, Scout.
Come on, Silver.
The marshal and those he had enlisted as special deputies followed the Lone Ranger's trail from town and across a stretch of open country. Then the ground became more firm, and the trail more difficult to follow. Soon after this, it was lost completely. The men beat around for some time before they were compelled to give up and return to the King Ranch. As Jim swung from the saddle, he heard the voice of his grandfather bellowing from a nearby window.
Come in here, Jim. Come in here right away. Bring those others with you.
What's the matter with Graham?
We'll be there, Gramp, as soon as we put up the horses.
Never mind the horses. Leave them where they are. Get inside the house, Dad. Ready? I got something to tell you.
Come on, boys. We better go on in and see what's eating him.
Yes, come on.
What in tarnations will keep you so long?
Ah, take it easy, Gramp. We've been trying to follow the trail of that masked man.
Where'd it take you to?
We lost it on the plains. We'll start out again in the morning and try to pick it up. There wasn't enough daylight left to do anything more tonight.
Start out in the morning, my eye. Start out right now and never mind the trail. I'll tell you where you can find that masked man.
Where? How do you know where he is?
Where's he at, Graham?
Fine parcel of relatives I got beaten all over the country. I died ratted in spite of my age and being shot in the back so I can't stir around. I can learn more sitting in this chair than you galoots. Here, take these old binoculars and look over toward the Calloway house.
Huh?
You, Jim, take them. Tell me what you see.
All right. You got to focus him a little.
Go on. Tell me what you see. Tell me what kind of a horse is standing near the house.
All right. It's a white one.
You're doggone right, it's a white one. And the man that got out of that saddle wears a mask. He's inside Sadie's place right now. Been there now.
We ought to go get him. I can't believe it. And Sadie was back at the shooting after all.
Has to hire professional gunslingers to do a shooting for us. Callaways are sure gone downhill since me and old Zeke used to blaze away at each other. Them was the days when a Callaway fought his own fight.
Well, what are we going to do? Stand here for the rest of the day and night? Or do we ride over to Callaway place for the showdown?
We ride. All right, get going, all of you. Dad, ready there? I wish I could ride with you.
Now, wait a minute, boys. Hold on. Maybe I'm one of the kings, but I'm still the United States Marshal. We're going to get that masked man, but we're going to do it legal. There'll be no gunslinging unless he starts it.
We'll see about that.
Let's get going.
All
We'll
right, let's
show
go.
Sadie. We'll show all the Callaways.
Wait till we get that masked man. We'll string him up.
Easy, boys. Steady. Oh, get him.
Jim King was at the head of the group that reined up in front of the Callaway ranch house. Betty Callaway came to the door and called.
Jim!
Oh, Betty,
All of you, what are you doing here?
Betty, we saw the white horse out and back. The man who shot Grandpa is in your house.
And we aim to have him.
Jim, listen to me. That masked man didn't shoot your grandfather. If you just wait a minute...
We weren't that masked man.
What's going on out here? What are all you critters doing on Callaway property?
Mrs. Callaway, we
The
can't...
whole King tribe, eh? Well, I'm glad you're here. It'll save me a trip to your place. Come on in here, all of you. Dismount and come inside of my house. I've got Jeb Rayner in there.
Jeb Rayner? Easy. What? What's Jeb Rayner doing here?
First time I ever been inside the Callaway house.
There's something strange about this.
You see, the masked man wasn't the gunman?
All of you go right into the big front room. There's a plenty you've got to know. You, Sam, shut the door.
Mrs. Callaway, we're here to get that masked man.
In there. You know where the front room is. Jeb Rayner's there. He's waiting with a couple of my men watching him.
What's he doing here?
Now listen, Miss Callaway. I want to know why I was brought here.
You keep still, Jeb. Speak when you're told to speak. Now you, Jim King,
Yeah?
and all the rest of you, I'll tell you just what the masked man told me.
All right, good.
He knew that you hot-headed king critters would come a-gunning for us when Jeremy got shot. The masked man wanted to prevent that same, so he made you think he'd done the shooting.
Well, didn't he?
Well, that kept you quiet while the masked man done some scouting. He found where the shot was fired from on the hill. Then he followed the tracks to this house. Came here asking questions.
It's true, Jim, every word of it.
I knew none of my people shot him. Callaways don't shoot in the back. But the tracks led here. Then I remembered that Jeb Rayner had come here. So I sent some men to bring him back.
Miss Callaway, please, I didn't do it. It's all a mistake. Let me explain.
Rayner, it'd be just like you to shoot a man in the back.
No, Jim, I swear.
Him to start the feud and break up Betty and me.
You dirty little sneak.
It's not so. There's a mistake. You can't prove it.
All right, Rainer, we'll see. You wonder why you was told to bring your rifle. Now I'll show you. Here, Marshal Jim. Here's an empty shell that was found where this catamount crouched to fire on King.
Huh?
Note the mark of the firing pin. It's off center.
Yeah.
The masked man said no other gun would make exactly the same mark.
He's right.
You, Rainer, fire that rifle and let the marshal examine the empty cartridge. By thunder, I'll bet that'll prove you're guilty.
There's no need. I know when I'm licked. I admit it.
Ah, you dirty fool.
I did it for you, Betty. I was almost beside myself thinking of you marrying Jim King.
Don't speak to me.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to hurt no one.
Boys, take him out of here. Take him to jail. We'll deal with him in court. Mrs. Calloway, I guess that sort of clears things up.
Oh, Dad ratted, Jim. Whatever made you think a Calloway shot old Jeremy?
Well, I didn't think so, but some of the other boys and Jeremy himself, they figured that...
Thunderation. There's been enough nonsense about this old feud. That's why I agreed to let you and Betty get married. That'll end it once and for all.
Mrs. Calloway, about that masked man. I want to see him.
Well, he's out back of the house, and reckon if you want to see him, you'll have to hurry because he wants to get back to his camp and join his Indian friends.
I want to see him too, Grandma. I want to see him without his mask. I bet that... Well, I bet he's every bit as handsome as Jim King.
Oh, Betty.
Well, that's a fine thing to say, the man you're going to marry.
Oh, but Jim, he's the Lone Ranger.
This is a feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated, created and produced by George W. Trendle and directed by Charles D. Livingston. Tonight's story was written by Fran Stryker. The part of the Lone Ranger is played by Brace Beamer.
You've been listening to the OTR Gold Network. Find more classic radio at otrgold.com.